Yo, welcome back to this channel. As you can tell by the title, we are going to be going over the top 100 wrestlers of all time. Now, this is in my opinion, and I'm not basing this off accolades. It's kind of just personal opinion. Honestly, these are the wrestlers I find the most entertaining. Whereas going from 1 to 100 is in the order. So this 100th person is the 100th wrestler that I'd want to watch the most, pretty much. Basically, just saying who's the most entertaining. In my opinion, this is all opinionated. Because if you do accolades, obviously you're going to have Cena, Orton, Ric Flair, all that up there, but I want this to be more opinionated. Now, there are some exceptions to the title and stuff like that, which you'll see later in the video. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. Number 100. If you know, you know. Now, I did put this here kind of as a joke, but sort of, if you know, you know, like I said. But this would probably be Becky Lynch instead. I know it's probably low for some people, but I don't know. I've never been the biggest fan of Becky, so the earlier ones, like, I'm not gonna explain too much on because a lot of people, and then the more we go, the more explanation we'll get. 99. We have Mickie James. Mickie James, absolute legend of the women's division. I remember watching back some of the pay-per-views with her on it, and her matches were always pretty solid. She's definitely one of the top women in my book, so yeah, simple. 98. A little bit of recency bias. Obviously, this whole list is going to be biased, and there's going to be some recency bias. I'm a biased, everybody's biased. So we have Roxanne Perez here. I've just absolutely loved her run in NXT, and that Royal Rumble performance just pushed her into the top 100 for me slightly. Next, we have 97, which I have Obafemi. One of the most dominant figures ever in NXT, and yeah, I'm not going to lie, he's just awesome. But I thought about something while talking about Obafemi. There are wrestlers on here that have spent time in other companies and stuff. I pretty much mainly watch WWE, so most of those I watch. Like, I like Swerve Strickland, but he's not going to be on here because I don't watch AEW enough, like stuff like that, right? But now if I have watched enough of them, they will be on here, but you get what I'm saying. Number 96, we have Umaga. I liked Umaga a lot. He was a pretty good heel. Problem is, they just used him as a big giant bodyguard, and I think there was so much more to him they could have done, which sucks. But yeah, I liked him a lot. He was a pretty good heel. 95, we have the Boogeyman. Just entertaining, really. I mean, every match he had was just so wacky and interesting. Although he's like a moments guy. You just remember the moments, but hey, that's what wrestling's about, is the moments. So I think it's valid. 94, we have Natalia. Another legend in the women's division. She might even be higher if she would just retire already. And I'm not trying to discredit her or anything like that, but it has gotten to a point where her matches now are just so boring. Nobody wants to see them. And before, she used to be like, everybody used to cheer when she come out. Everybody want to give her high fives and stuff like that. And nowadays it's like, just retire. Like, she's hurting herself here, in my opinion. 93, we have Dirty Dom. I love Dominic. He is a fantastic heel. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. He's a great heel, especially for the modern era. 92, we have Trick Williams. Another awesome NXT run. He's still in NXT, obviously. One of the best intros you can have in pro wrestling is Trick Williams' intro. And yeah, overall, just really like his style of wrestling, so that's why he goes a little bit higher. Again, would like to see more. He could definitely move up. 91, we have Carmelo Hayes. Same thing, I'd like to see more. I feel like they've done him so dirty on the main roster so far, especially in the Rumble, because I get he can't win everything, and he came in with the stacked class, so he can't have all the belts and stuff like that. But to go out that early in the Royal Rumble, that hurt. That I did not expect that from Carmelo Hayes at all. I thought he would have stayed in a lot longer, but it is what it is. All right, next we have 90, who is Asuka. I like Asuka a lot, but it seems like, I don't know, the past like 2 years have been just kind of down on Asuka for me. When she joined, what was it, Damage Control, I just was not a big fan of that. And ever since, like, her matches recently, I don't know, they just haven't done much with her. I used to like her character a lot, and the Mist would play way more of effect. Like, I remember that triple threat. It was what, her, Charlotte, and I want to say the other was Bianca Belair. I don't remember. But that was a great triple threat match, and Asuka was fantastic in that match, and we haven't seen that Asuka in quite some time. So, yeah, she's going to go down here for me. Next, we have 89. It was Daniel Bryan. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be upset at this. A lot of people love Daniel Bryan. I've never really been a big fan of Daniel Bryan. You know, I don't know why. I think it was, I don't know. I just didn't like him in the ring. I felt like his matches were kind of slow. And it's not even the technical thing, because you'll see later on there's some technical wrestlers I have pretty high up, but I don't know. Technical wrestling is probably my least favorite type of wrestling in WWE, or in the industry, I should say. So it makes sense he's kind of this slow, but the most memorable moment of Daniel Bryan for me, honestly, isn't even this championship, like where he won these. It's honestly him being a part of Team Hell No. So that's my favorite version of Daniel Bryan. I don't know, just never was a big fan of any of his matches. Now, this triple threat was fantastic, but other than that, I can't even really think of one that I was overly impressed with. 88. We have Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett was he was just kind of nasty. There's someone on this list later on, I'm not gonna say who, that he reminds me of, but his career was just so short. If it would have lasted longer, I think he had a world championship in him. Not with Bad News Barrett, but you know, maybe maybe he finds his way back up there, because he was really good in the ring, for sure. And I love his finisher. What was it, the Bullhammer or something like that? Yeah. 87. Bronson Reed. Now, again, recency bias, but I have not seen anyone this good on social media. His tweets on Twitter are absolutely hilarious. Like, I love them. So that's honestly the entire reason I'm putting him up here, is just because of his social media presence. So sorry if you don't like that. I love him. 86. Tommy Dreamer. I used to love, well, I don't know how to explain this. I like to go back and watch a lot. I've watched every pay-per-view since 2000 at this point. And Tommy Dreamer, I remember that Royal Rumble he was in, where he brought in the like the trash can and stuff, and the kendo sticks, I believe. That was just fantastic. I just love his matches. He really is like Mr. Extreme. He'd do anything, you know, as long as it involved the weapon. So yeah, I loved watching Tommy Dreamer. 85. Lita. I think people are pretty split on Lita. I could be wrong. Maybe people love her, maybe people hate her. I thought she was good, and she was definitely a like trailblazer for the women's division. Um, but that, honestly, that Matt Hardy and Edge feud really made me hate her. It really did. So it makes me push her down, but she was pretty good in the ring. Her character work was solid. Just that feud really made me hate her. All right, 84. We have the Big Show. I think a lot of people would not have him on their list. But for me, I like the Big Show. Sure, he's not the greatest in-ring wrestler. I loved his character. I know it's simple and it's dumb, but like every time you thought the Big Show was about to be a good guy, he betrays everyone. And it was just like, it pissed you off, but it was like, yeah, that's the point. It's like, of course he's gonna do it again. You know, he walks out on the company just to come back and betray that. Like he's just an ass. All right, and I think he plays it well. Of course, he's not the best in the ring, but I kind of liked it, you know, especially rewatching. Now, obviously, growing up, I hated the Big Show. I think everybody did. But rewatching, you can really appreciate everything once you get older. 83. We have Farouk. Only got one thing to say. Damn! 82. We got Tiffany Stratton. Again, recency bias, but she has been so good. So good. She's arguably a top 5 woman on the women's roster right now. Actually, that's probably not even arguable. She's definitely top 5 right now, and this is the strongest women's division has ever been. And yeah, just overall great. I especially loved her run in NXT as well. 81, Braun Breaker. Again, recency biased, but this dude's an animal. I mean, this guy has future world champion written all over him. I don't know if there's anything wrong. And that moment with Speed was hilarious, but that didn't push him up or down for me. But yeah, he's fantastic in the ring. He has one of the nastiest spears I've ever seen. Just great overall. 80, we have Adrian Neville. Dude, Neville was a beast. I have a Neville shirt. I have no idea where it is, but I know I have one. And he just literally defied gravity. Like, this guy could do anything in the air. You think like other people, like say Ricochet or something like that? No, this guy was the definition of defying gravity. I mean, he was absolutely insane, and he's a built guy. I mean, you can see him right there. So he could do a lot of stuff, and his NXT run is one of the best of all time, in my opinion. And they really screwed him over in the main roster. Number 79, Austin Theory. Now, a lot of people may hate this, a lot of people may love this. I love Austin Theory. True, they kind of screwed him over, I'm not going to lie, with a lot of his booking. But I think his character work as of recent, and obviously he is one of the best physiques in WWE and wrestling in general, but his character work recently has been a whole lot better, and I think once he finally turns on Grayson Waller, we're finally going to start getting the Austin Theory push that, honestly, he deserves. He's a super funny character. He's really good on the mic. He just got the push way too early, and then they had to bury him, and they buried him so hard. It hurt him so bad. So yeah, watch out for the rise of Austin Theory. Number 78, Carmella. Again, a lot of people may not like this. I loved Carmella as Miss Money in the Bank. That was probably her best year in my opinion, and I loved it. It was great. Honestly, don't have much to say. I like her in the ring. She's hot. Sorry, I meant she's really good in the ring. I like her intro. The stuff she was doing with Enzo and Big Cass was great. James Ellsworth was great. Overall, she's just a really good female wrestler. 77, we have Damian Priest. I wouldn't even say recency bias because he hasn't been doing that much recently, but that World Heavyweight Championship run is one of my favorites. I don't know how, but they gave Damian Priest, a guy who they're like, no, everybody's like, this guy can't be a main eventer, blah, blah, blah. They give him this title, and he has arguably the best run ever since the title came back. I mean, the only one that I think is honestly in contention is Seth. And I don't think Gunther's close. I don't even think we had anybody else, did we? No, so it's just well, I guess we had what's his name? Drew McIntyre for a moment. But yeah, Damian Priest, he has one of the best reigns, honestly, with the World Heavyweight Championship, in my opinion. I love it. 76, Nikki Bella. A lot of people not going to like this one. A lot of people don't like Nikki Bella. I did. A lot of people don't like the Divas era. I really didn't either. I don't blame them. But Nikki Bella, I thought, was pretty sound in the ring. And I felt like her character, she kind of, yes, she encapsulates the Divas era, but she is, how do I explain? She's like the step ahead. Like, she's the main event of the Divas, which obviously she was, but she was the only real draw except for the next person, which would be 75, which is Brie Bella. She was just slightly better than Nikki, I think, because she was more a face, and Nikki Bella was more a heel. But these two were the only real saving moments from the Divas era, which is definitely when I watched the most. Other than now, I think I watch way more now. But she was great. Both of the Bella twins were good. They were probably the only ones in the Divas division, and probably saved the whole women's division entirely. If those two weren't there, who knows if we'd even have a women's division. Number 74, Enzo and Cass. Now, this is where we get a sort of exception, because these are two wrestlers taking up one spot, and that's because for certain teams, like, for example, if I wanted to do the New Day, which I didn't, if I kind of saw them all as the same, I just classify them as the New Day. But I don't, so they are split up. But Enzo and Cass, I classify them as the same. Like, they are the same spot for me. They're a tag team, so they're going to go together. One of the most entertaining tag teams of all time. Honestly, it'd be nice to see them back, but I doubt it at this point. But really entertaining tag team. Number 73, we have Alexa Bliss. A lot of people are probably going to have her higher. Personally, I think she's fantastic in the ring, but there was a year or 2 years where her character I didn't really enjoy. Like, there was the one where her, like, heartbeat starts going off in, like, the Rumble or something, and she, like, starts going crazy, and I was like, that just really cringed me out. And normally, like, that, like, the Wyatt stuff, I can't say I particularly enjoyed too well, but hers was pretty cringy, not gonna lie. But she's fantastic in the ring. And then eventually they made it less cringy, where she was just kind of weird, which that was fine. But yeah, when the heartbeat stuff was going on and stuff like that, not a fan. 72. Speaking of, we have Bray Wyatt. People are gonna have him higher. I was just never the biggest fan of Bray Wyatt, to be honest. I thought he was amazing in the ring. I like one of the best in-ring performers in my opinion. But I never really liked the character of Bray Wyatt or the Fiend really. I was just not a fan. I did like when it was the Wyatt family, but it was more when it moved to the was it the Wyatt's Playhouse or something like that. I wasn't a fan of that. The Wyatt family though, absolutely loved, and in the ring, Bray Wyatt absolutely loved. So I love his matches. His character, I just was never a fan of. Not even the Nexus one. Number 71, we have the Street Profits. Again, I'm ranking them together. I definitely do like one more than the other, but I'm ranking them together because they haven't been seen without each other. So, yeah, Montez Ford, in my opinion, is a lot better than Angelo Dawkins, but I think Dawkins is going to come back even better. He looks in better shape when they returned at the Royal Rumble. Montez Ford obviously looked in fantastic shape, and yeah, they're one of my favorite tag teams of all time. I hope they eventually split up. The only thing I think that might hurt Dawkins, I hope it doesn't. I hope they can both succeed in the singles, but I'd like to see Montez Ford get like an IC title run or a US title run. I think he deserves it. Number 70, AJ Styles. Again, people are going to have him low. I did not watch when he was in TNA. I'm just going to be honest. I've pretty much only seen his stuff in WWE, and I think he's great. He's great in the ring. The one thing I never really liked was his character. When he first came in, I thought his character was great. I think his character now is great. But there was that time where he was trying to be heel, and I wasn't buying it. And then he got Omos on his side. I wasn't buying it. He got what are the names? Carl Anderson and gosh, jeez, I forgot the other one. But I just wasn't ever buying his heel runs, so that's why he's this low for me. But yeah, great in-ring performer. Number 69, Drew McIntyre. The reasons I'm about to give are going to make people think, well, how do I not have him higher? Because I like Drew a lot. One of the best physiques in wrestling. Some great feuds, arguably the best feuds since 2020. Great on social media. Hell, I even liked his run in 3MB. So why do I have him this low? I just don't really like his moveset. I mean, he's not bad in the ring. He's definitely really good in the ring. It's just I don't like really the moves he does. I like the Claymore. That's cool. But the rest of his moves, I just feel like kind of fall flat for me. And I feel myself always rooting against him even now. And that's nothing against him. That's meaning he's doing his job pretty good, right? But I think he's one of those where I'm going to come back and put him higher. Because as of now, I don't want to put him higher. I like his matches. I think he's great. I liked when he was part of 3MB. But he's just not very likable as a character right now, and so it's kind of holding it back. Again, recency bias will come in. He probably will move up in the future because I'll go back and watch this and be like, wow, this guy's a genius, which I have to say that now, but yeah, maybe you should be higher, but this is where I have him. 68, The Ultimate Warrior. Now, there's very few people that I have on here that are before my time because, you know, I wasn't really watching them. The Ultimate Warrior, though, I went back and watched quite a bit. I enjoy him, man, and he got the crowd hyped like no other. I personally think he's way better than Hulk Hogan. Yeah, he got the crowd hyped like no other. His moveset was great. And yeah, that his character work was just, man, it was on another level. Physique obviously was amazing, but that was the, time when they were. So, yeah. 67, Matt Hardy. Delete, delete, delete. I don't even like that version of Matt Hardy. I don't know why I did that. I like the version 1.0 Matt Hardy. That was epic. His storylines back in the day, oh my god, were fantastic. Obviously, he's part of one of the greatest tag teams of all time. But his storylines back then were great. The one between him and Edge, like I mentioned earlier, that made me hate Lita. That was amazing. The storyline where he fought Jeff, amazing. Him versus MVP, amazing. Like, this guy was so great at character work. I think where he struggled was just in the ring ability. His in the ring ability was not as great as other people's, but man, was his character work fantastic. And especially early in his career, well, I shouldn't say early, but like middle of his career, he wasn't in the best shape, so it kind of threw people off like me. So yeah. All right, 66. We have Goldust. A lot of people are probably going to be surprised he's on this list and going to be surprised he's this high. He's a moment guy. I like the moment guys because it's something I can remember. You're like, oh, you remember when Goldust did this, did that, or whatever. And I do. I remember a bunch of Goldust stuff. So, yeah, he's just a moment guy. Very simple. 65. Paige. Paige, I feel like really, really started the new women's era. Obviously, when she had to leave, that really hurt, and when she left, that's when the four horsewomen kind of brought themselves up. So I think she was the final stepping stool, or final stepping stone, whatever you want to call it, to the current women's era we have now. Yeah, she did a lot for the women's division and stuff. So yeah, 64. I have MVP. We spoke of him earlier. One of the best intros in my opinion. One of the best character works in my opinion. And his US title run is arguably the best. I love his US title run. It was so fun. I personally, I love MVP. I just think I don't want to say career, but his prime was too short. Because this character of MVP, when he did the U.S. title run, that lasted, at most 5 years. And so he kind of fell off quickly. But his prime was great. 63, we have Chelsea Green. Recency bias, I think it's not even recency. She is the funniest woman we've ever had on there. And she is similar to like a R-Truth, where she does make you laugh a lot. It's not her trying to be funny and failing. She is very good at being funny. And her in-ring work is great too. And her style of wrestling is funny. She's just a great and funny character. I'm so glad she got the U.S. title. She absolutely deserved that. So yeah. 62. Ricochet. People might be surprised at this. The man who cannot cut a promo to save his life. And I'm sorry, Ricochet, because you are pretty high on my list, right? You're in the top 100. What were you, 62? Yeah, 62. But you can't cut a promo. However, his in-ring ability is arguably number one. What he can do in the ring is so good. But I personally like character work a lot, so that's why he's a little bit lower for me. But in-ring, he is fantastic. So, yeah, I definitely cannot take that away from him. 61. Randy Savage. This is also one of the people that were before my time. But, man, if you watch Randy Savage, hell, he's still in all the Slim Jim ads to this day. So it's like, dude, his influence was insane. Everybody wants to do the Macho Man impression. I mean, this is justified, I feel. People probably say I should have him higher, but again, he was before my time, so I didn't get to see much. Number 60, The Rock. Oh, people are not going to like this one. They're either going to think he should not be on the list or he should be way higher. I don't know. The Rock had some legendary feuds. Let's not get it twisted. He's a good in-ring performer. I vividly remember Rock versus Cena 1 and 2. And the final boss as well just put a giant strawberry, a giant whatever on top of the cake. Just called it a day. That being said, I think his career is too short, which sounds odd because he spans across multiple decades. But that first run he had was great, and then after that, they weren't really runs he had. It was more he came back for this match, or came back for that match, or came back for this feud or that feud, and then would leave again. So that's why he's this low for me. There's going to be a lot of hypocrisy in this, but just stay with me. Yeah, I also was not a big fan of his moveset at all. I like the rock bottom, but that's about it. 59. Eddie Guerrero. Again, another one people probably think I should have higher. I absolutely love Eddie Guerrero. I loved him in the ring. He has arguably the most charisma out of any superstar ever. But unfortunately, I mean, everybody knows the story of Eddie Guerrero. Unfortunately, his career was too short. And, I hate to hold that against him. But when you have guys who are similar to Eddie Guerrero in an overall sense, but their careers last 20 years, it's hard to put him higher. But absolutely one of the best to ever touch a ring. I think everybody would have loved to see more. I mean, hell, Eddie Guerrero might still be wrestling to this day. And I wish he was, because he was amazing. Number 58. Trish Stratus. Again, a real pioneer of the women's. In my opinion, when she was wrestling in the women's division, other than maybe Lita, she was the only one worth watching. Any match with her was fantastic. The other person could have sucked, and she still made it great. Her whole feud with Chris Jericho and Christian, out of all people, it's like that's how good she was. Like, she feuded with Chris Jericho and Christian, out of all people. Like, she was so above the women's division at this time. I would love to see prime Trish Stratus in today's WWE, and she would still be up there with the greats. She was fantastic. Number 57. I have the Dudley Boys. Now, a lot of people might have, I don't know. I feel like this is a fair rating for the Dudley Boys. One of the greatest tag teams ever. They have one of the best finishers ever. Their charisma was off the charts. We bring the tables. I mean, come on. I don't need to explain. 56, Santino Marella. Again, a moment guy, and this guy has so many of them. John Cena is a great one. He holds a record. He's the quickest person to be eliminated from the Rumble. So love Santino. Very funny. Never fails to make me laugh. So yeah. 55, Bianca Belair. Now, I wanted to put her higher, but the reason I didn't was because I feel like we're not even in her prime yet, which sounds crazy because she's a Rumble winner, main eventer in WrestleMania, multiple time women's champion, women's tag team champion, and I still don't think we're in her prime. Absolutely not. She is still improving every year, and eventually when we get to that prime Bianca Belair, she's going to skyrocket. I only have her this low because I see so much more in her that we're going to get for sure because she's been getting better. So yeah, 54, Rusev. Now, a lot of people are probably questioning the Rusev one. I did not like Rusev a lot growing up. I remember I'd watch him and I would honestly hate his matches. I don't know why. Because when I went and rewatched all of them, like all the pay-per-views and stuff that he was on, I love him. I love him now. I don't know what happened, but this guy is just anti-kids, I guess. Kids just don't like him because I don't know anybody that liked Rusev. However, when I went back and watched him, oh man, did I love Rusev. Holy, he was good in the ring. He was so good in the ring. Hopefully he comes back with Triple H and Reign now because there has been rumors he will. I hope so. Number 53, Baron Corbin. I can't believe WWE let this man go. This is one of the greatest in-ring performers ever. I don't care what you say. Go watch Baron Corbin. He is so good in the ring. He is so good at putting people over. He's like Randy Orton without the success. All right? And he was so good on the mic. This guy's NXT run was legendary. His run in the main roster was honestly legendary, if you ask me. He is one of the best in-ring performers and best character workers to never get anything. One of the most underrated superstars of all time. Number 52, Mick Foley. I mean, come on, self-explanatory. A lot of people probably have him higher, but again, before my time, even rewatching though, I mean, the moments from this guy, holy, the character work, 3 characters, 4 if you count Mick Foley himself. This guy's just legendary. Honestly, I'm kind of convincing myself that I should have had him higher, but yeah, legendary moment maker, put his body on the line no matter what. 51, The Miz. Everybody hated this guy. And that's how you know he was doing it right. Everybody hated The Miz growing up and watching. But that's how you know he was doing it. And he's still doing it. Now, he's fallen off a little bit in terms of his character. He's still great on the mic. He's still good in the ring. And hell, at the Royal Rumble, he was doing shit I ain't never seen him do before. He did a Hurricane Rana. He's jumping off the top rope dude, he was in his bag at the Rumble. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, just absolutely fantastic mic worker. Top 5 in my opinion. And number 50. Before we get to 50 though, I'm just gonna read some honorable mentions just in case you're wondering. I had Sol Ruka as well as Becky Lynch. I love her NXT run right now, and her finisher is beautiful. Otis, hilarious. Matt Riddle. Yeah, a lot of people may not like, but I liked his in-ring work. Tyler Breeze, Zelina Vega, Alberto Del Rio, X-Pac, Carlito, Justin Gabriel, Chad Gable, DDP, Cody Rhodes, Bobby Roode, Damian Sandow, Tyson Kidd, Scott Steiner, Titus O'Neil, Alex Riley, Evan Bourne, Mr. Perfect, Heath Slater, Yoshitatsu, and Eugene. Now, a lot of those kind of sounded like meme ones or joke ones. That's because they are, they made me laugh as a kid, but they didn't make it. I just thought they deserved a shout out, because they were still a part of my childhood. At 50, we have Zack Ryder. I know everybody was wishing he came back in the Rumble, and he was teasing it too. He pissed me off. He was like, "Oh, guess where I'm at, guys?" He's like, "Oh, you guys should check out this restaurant in Indianapolis. Oh, all this and that." And he posted, "You never know what will happen." Well, we know now. Yeah, that IC title win right there that I have in the picture, it's beautiful. That's so beautiful. And his song, I mean, obviously his character work is great. The Broski boot. I mean, come on, man. 49, We have Sin Cara. Now, this guy definitely was not the best in the ring, but his moveset was beautiful. I don't care if he messed up. I don't care if he got hurt a lot. His moveset was beautiful, so when it worked, it was fantastic. And I would say character work, I honestly have never heard this guy speak on a mic, and I've rewatched all the stuff. And I'm sure he has, but I couldn't tell you. But yeah, this was purely off of his in-ring ability and his aura. So yeah. 48. Hornswoggle. I love Hornswoggle. He's actually supplied some pretty great matches. Obviously, he's kind of a big joke, which I hate to say because he is a great performer, but they really used him a lot for jokes, and but he was great at those, and when he was in the matches, he was pretty good. So yeah, I like Hornswoggle. 47, Samoa Joe. This guy's career in WWE is way too short. I know he's, what is he, in AEW or TNA now? I don't remember, but gosh, man, he is just an animal. He's a different beast. Like, they call, like, Brock Lesnar a beast. This guy's a beast. Like, someone as big as him should not move like him. Like, they should not be as flexible as him. His title runs were great. Obviously, what, 3-time NXT champion as well. One of the best, if not the best NXT champion of all time. He's ridiculous. He is ridiculous. Bring him back, please. Number 46, Bret Hart. Again, someone before my time. But if you go back and watch Bret Hart, legendary matches. I'm not going to talk about his disdain for Goldberg. But him versus Shawn Michaels in the Iron Man match was legendary. All of his matches are really great, honestly. Him versus, what, I think it was Yokozuna, right? He did great in that match. You know, he's a really great wrestler, great character worker. And he really brought a lot of swag to WWE. Like, look at this fit, man. Like, he's got the singlet on or whatever it's called. And he's still got drip. Like, that's crazy. Number 45. We have Cesaro. Oh, man, I hope he comes back. I always liked Cesaro. But going back and rewatching, you can really appreciate how great of an in-ring competitor he is. And his character work was honestly quite underrated. I liked this character for the most part. But in the ring, he was something. They weren't lying when they said pound for pound the strongest guy. He was doing some crazy shit at his weight, honestly. He really was. He is an insane in-ring performer, so I feel like it makes sense to have him here. 44, we have Bobby Lashley. I think his career is just too short. Obviously, he took a big break when he went to, Bellator. He's absolutely juiced. He's a monster. He's a freak of nature. His spear is deadly. His moveset is great. He's a powerhouse. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. I wish his character work was slightly better, and I wish his career was longer. That's it. 43. We have AJ Lee. Another pioneer of the women's division. She is the step right before Paige, in my opinion. Everybody wants her back. Come on, Punk, bring her back. I mean, I know that's a hard task. She probably is good where she's at. But, man, did people love her in the ring. The only thing I didn't like about her after rewatching was, like, all the, like, hidden messages they gave her. They basically treated her like a whore. Sorry for the language, but they did. And, I didn't like that because she was great in the ring. And she was pretty much, before they gave her a shot at being that women's champion or divas champion, whatever, they kind of just traded her. They just threw her around to every male in the locker room who needed backup, right? And not even ones who needed it. Like, they threw her to Dolph Ziggler, and Dolph Ziggler did not need that. But yeah, I just wish they treated her better, which is probably why she doesn't want to come back, because she was great in the ring, but I felt like she was mistreated. 42, we have Naomi. Love Naomi. So entertaining in the ring. Honestly, in my opinion, she's like the female Kofi Kingston. She's not quite as much as a high flyer, I would say, but she's pretty close. And like I said, just female Kofi Kingston, so that's a pretty good compliment. Again, just wish she was in WWE longer. There's many times where she'd leave, come back, leave, come back, leave, come back. And I just wish she stayed the whole time because she was great. I don't know why they ever let her leave. Like, Naomi deserves where she's at right now. 41. The Undertaker. A lot of people are going to be upset. I know Josh, my friend Josh, will be watching this, and he will not like this because he loves The Undertaker. But for me, The Undertaker is just not that high for me. Does he have legendary matches? Yes. Is he a legendary character? Yes. Is his mic work good? Sure. I just think, especially later in his career, his matches started to fall off, which is fine. Again, that's not why I have him this low. I just am not the biggest fan of his matches. He does have some legendary matches, like the Buried Alive match between him and Kane was great. But I don't know. I just think I was never really over on his gimmick. Like when I was a kid and I found out he wasn't dead, devastated. When I found out him and Kane weren't actually brothers, devastated. And at that point I was like, man, this guy's lying about everything. But no, I don't know. I'm just not as high on him for his in-ring capabilities and stuff like that, I guess. But even though he used to do a bunch of crazy stuff, I don't know. It's just he's not someone I go back and watch a lot. So I'm sorry to all the Taker fans out there, but this is where he's going to be on my list. At 40, we have Mark Henry. The Hall of Pain was legendary. It was a legendary run. Mark Henry is a great world champion. Mark Henry was a beast. He was actually really good on the mic, which I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for. But yeah, that's pretty simple for Mark Henry. 39, Big E. One of the best Mr. Money in the bank cash-ins, I should say, in my opinion. Everybody wanted Big E to succeed. Hopefully he comes back. Obviously, he's absolutely an animal when it comes to strength, but yeah, just super fun. Fun character. Like, his character work and on mic ability was fantastic. Then he'd get in the ring and whoop people like it was nothing. So, would just love to see Big E back, honestly. Number 38, I have Liv Morgan. Sorry for this weird picture. I could not find a picture for that would work on here anyway. Honestly, while Rhea was gone, she kind of carried the women's division. And I do agree with what a lot of people say that she should have fought more people while she was champion. But her in the ring has just gotten better and better. Like this past year or so, which I guess you call recency bias again, she's been great in the ring. She's been fantastic. But obviously early in her career, she struggled with her character where her whole thing was about crying, and then she wasn't the best in the ring. She's part of the Riot Squad. So she'll end up being higher, and she'll probably end up being a Hall of Fame women's wrestler. She's just fantastic if she's not already one. 37, I have Edge. People are again think this is too low. Edge obviously missed a large chunk of time that is honestly not really factored into this. I just feel like Edge's title reigns are kind of bad. He has not really had a good title reign. He might have one. But every title reign he had lasted like a month or 2 months, and he'd lose it, and then he'd win it back immediately. That's where most of his championships come from. And again, it was him being the ultimate opportunist, which a lot of people love. I felt like he cheated a lot of people out. You know, he's part of one of the greatest tag teams ever of all time. His moveset is great. His intro is great. I just feel like he was almost too good of a heel. I don't necessarily like his character. I think his heel work was fantastic, arguably the greatest heel ever, and that is why I have him here. Because he made me not like him. The way he cheated so much over and over again, but that's why I think people overrate him as well, because of how much he did cheat. But that was his character. So I don't know. That's why I have him here. Kind of a little torn, because he is very good in the ring. But he cheated with everything to get the championships, man. So, whatever. Next at 36, we have his tag team partner, Christian. I actually enjoyed Christian a lot more. I found his moveset way more enjoyable. Captain Charisma, I thought, was a very likable character. I just think they didn't utilize him enough. Again, I wouldn't call him underrated, but he was definitely underutilized within the company. Because I think he's on the same level as Edge, and maybe I should have combined them, just made this Edge and Christian as one. But they're known as two separate entities, so I thought I'd rank them. I just slightly like Christian more, and it's probably because of his theme music. I love it. Next at 35, we have JBL or Bradshaw. This guy's clothesline is nasty. I'm not gonna lie, that might be the only reason I put him up here. It's not. I do like a lot of his matches. He also came up with some weird stipulations for his matches. His feud with John Cena was great. His championship runs were actually pretty good. Like WWE Champion was a pretty good run. But yeah, I think honestly what put him up here for me is that finisher. That clothesline from hell was out of this world. And obviously tag teaming with Farouk bumps him up as well. 34. We have Booker T. Can you dig it? Obviously, Spinner-Rooney, so many legendary moments, so many legendary matches. Yeah, again, he was not in the company as long as I'd like, but I loved all of his matches. Even when he entered the Rumble as an announcer, you could tell he still had it in him. So yeah, it's a fair spot for him, I think. Number 33, Kurt Angle. Honestly thought he was higher on my list, but he must not be. A fantastic technical wrestler. A lot of people are going to be mad he's not higher. But again, I'm not the biggest fan of technical wrestlers, so the fact he is this high is kind of also pretty good for him. I love his promos more than anything. Kurt Angle promos are by far my favorite thing. Is he a fantastic competitor? Yes. Is he fantastic in the ring? Yes. Did he deserve more? Absolutely. But I honestly loved his character work more than anything. I loved his characters. Like Kurt Angle as a performer was fantastic, but Kurt Angle on the mic was even better in my opinion. Number 32, we have Kane. Yeah, I have Kane over Undertaker and this high. Kane is a staple of WWE in my opinion. Like, if you want to go, like, I wouldn't say that he put the company on his back, but if you want to go with someone who has put in the work day in, day out for years, decades, just to keep the company afloat, it'd be Kane. Kane was there when they needed him for everything, and, you know, I noticed that and I appreciated it. Kane is what by far has the most Rumble appearances. Kane, what, has the most Rumble eliminations, if I'm correct? Unless Braun Strowman or Roman passed him, but I don't think so. Did not get enough title runs, but when he did, they were great. His tag teams were great. Brothers of Destruction, Team Hell No were great. His feuds were, for the most part, pretty good, like The Authority and the one with Undertaker. Overall, just a legend of the game. Just wrestled non-stop. Obviously, his career towards the end was starting to be less and less, but even when he was about to retire, he was still on TV on a monthly basis. So I just have a lot of respect for Kane. He is a massive workhorse of the company, so that's why I have him this high. 31. I have Shane McMahon. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be shocked. This is another moment maker, but for a guy who's pretty much just the boss's son, he is fantastic in the ring, and he puts his body on the line every time he competes. And his mic work is great. His entrance is great. His moveset is great. I love his finisher, the coast to coast. All the legendary moments he has where he's like thrown off the cell and stuff. Like, he is just... He's like... He's not the boss's son. He is Shane McMahon. He is Shane O'Mac. He is that guy. So that's why I have him up here. Again, he didn't have to do this, so it's also another respect thing where you're rich, dude. You are the boss's son of this multi-billion-dollar company, and you were going out there and risking your life, like risking your livelihood for a match? Like, you don't have to do this, and he did it anyway. That's just pure love of the game right there. At number 30, we have Ryback. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be upset at this one, and I get it. I'm not here to talk about any of the stuff that happened between Ryback and WWE, but what I will say is while he was in the WWE, all of his matches were great, for the most part. There was obviously some that weren't, mainly when he was in Nexus, but once he became Ryback, everybody loved this man. Everybody cheered for this man. Everybody wanted him to win the Rumble. Everybody wanted him to win titles. Everybody wanted him to do everything. His only issue that, like, I noticed that's not a part of the controversy and stuff, I'm not going to go over any of that, was that he would tend to be a little rough with his moves, but at the same time, he is a strong-ass dude, all right? So I loved him in the ring. He was one of the strongest. He's similar to Bobby Lashley, but I felt like his run as a character was just more iconic to me. Like, Bobby Lashley's so great in the ring, but he hasn't had an iconic run like Ryback. Like, the whole Feed Me More versus Cena and everything, that was legendary, honestly. 29. I have Kevin Owens. Again, I'd say he's similar to, like, Kane. He is an absolute workhorse for this company. Every month he's on TV, he's doing something. He's fighting in the main event. He's fighting in the mid-card. Hell, they could send him to NXT and he'd be great. He is great no matter where he goes. My small issue with Kevin is just his like, not style of wrestling, because I love his style of wrestling. He just... The clothes, it's just really the clothes. His appearance is just funky. He just has a funky appearance. But in-ring competitor, fantastic. On the mic, fantastic. Some of the greatest feuds we've had. Honestly, was a part of the reason COVID WWE wasn't so bad, because his matches with Roman and stuff. And I love his feud now. He is a fantastic heel and a fantastic face. So yeah, it makes sense for Kevin to be this high. Just waiting to see more. Number 28, I have Finn Balor. Give this man another world title. Please, he absolutely deserves it. Another workhorse of the company. And they did what I said they could do with Kevin Owens. They sent him down to NXT, and he was great. You give him a mid-card title, he's great. You give him a world championship, he's great. This man is great no matter where you put him. You put him in a faction with people who don't necessarily belong in the main event scene, and he is still doing fantastic things with them, that being the Judgment Day, obviously, since Rhea and Damian left. I like Dominic and Liv, yes, is main event, but Raquel and Carlito, and hell, even R-Truth weren't main event, but Finn Balor has helped keep them afloat, and overall, his in-ring ability, oh my god, is insane. His character work is great. Oh, I forgot to mention JD McDonough as well. I love this guy. I mean, the fact he doesn't have more is crazy. And that's why I do have him low. Like, they are screwing him for me because, like I said, there will be hypocrisy. You'll see people later and you'll wonder the same thing. But anyway, to me, he deserves more title runs, and I'd like to see what he could really do with a title, which we haven't really got much of, other than that NXT. And the Demon's awesome. 27, I have Braun Strowman. He might be the best big man in WWE history. Does he mess some stuff up? Sure. His character work, though, is great. He is a monster. He really is. They call, what was Big Show the world's biggest athlete or whatever? That is Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is humongous. And his speed, his conditioning, I mean, it's all great for his size. And I like his in-ring work. I know a lot of people may not like it, but I love his in-ring work. Sure, he messes some stuff up from time to time, but he does stuff no one else can do, man. And I can't look past that. And they don't really let big guys have great character. Like, you look at someone like Omos, they really never gave him a character, but Braun Strowman has a fantastic character. So, yeah, that's why he's this high for me. 26, I have Kofi Kingston. Kofi Mania, obviously the greatest, it might be the top one moment from WWE. Just being honest, Kofi Mania was absolutely beautiful. He's a part of the greatest tag team, no, second greatest tag team ever. He is Mr. Royal Rumble. He does all this and that. This new heel turn they did is fantastic. He was a great, U.S. champion back in his early days. A fake Jamaican, too. He is fantastic. In the ring, on the mic, whatever. Everyone at this point on, honestly, I probably could have said that a few back. They don't have much wrong with them. Now, if anything. Now, the thing about Kofi, the reason I don't have him higher is, again, his lack of title runs. Honestly, a lot of tag team title runs, but those title runs were when the only two tag teams in the division were them and the Usos. So I don't put an asterisk next to it because they definitely earned them, but they were never facing anyone other than the Usos, really. Number 25, 75% of the way. I have CM Punk. A lot of people may have higher. I think his time away from the WWE was wrong. I think when he was booked, his booking early in his career was wrong, which is not his fault, obviously, but I didn't really enjoy the Second City Saint that much, and I forgot what his group was called, and I can't even remember who was a part of it, but he had the girl and the guy with him, and they were supposed to be the Straight Edge Society. I think that's what they were called. I did not like that at all. Him winning that Money in the Bank, the first one, didn't like at all. He did not deserve it at that point yet, in my opinion. Second one, he definitely did. He did. Had some legendary feuds, though, with Jeff Hardy and stuff like that. Obviously, his return has been legendary. On the mic, top 3, that's not a debate. Legendary feuds with John Cena. You can go on and on about CM Punk, but I would just say that his early career is what holds him back for me, honestly. Number 24, we have Rey Mysterio, the greatest little man to ever do it. This inspired every kid. Honestly, the reason I have him this high is purely because of my childhood. I'm not taking anything else into account. As a kid, you love Rey Mysterio. You don't have a choice. The effect he has on the youth, no one beats it. So that's why he's this high. I'm not even going to explain anything else about him, although he has other great stuff to him. but he's just a legendary figure in the eyes of a child. And men, but every child, but not every man. You get what I'm saying. 23, Brock Lesnar. People are going to be upset I have him this high. A part-timer this high, sure. He's had a bunch of legendary runs. Every single run Brock's been in has been great. And a lot of people didn't like the him versus Roman feud. I loved it. And I loved the second one too, where he came back as a cowboy and they flipped the ring with the tractor or whatever. And his moveset is great. He's dominant. He's a beast. He's physically might be the top of the... He might be number one, like, what is it? Not physique, because he's not the best looking guy, but he might be the number one pound for pound guy. He might be that guy. He went to UFC, obviously, won a world championship in UFC, came back, multi-time world champion here, Money in the Bank winner, multiple-time Royal Rumble winner. And I love his character. I think he's actually quite funny. I think he can get very serious, obviously. A downside, he sometimes gets too rough, like what he did to Orton. I don't think I'll ever forgive him for that. And I remember, because Chris Jericho was talking about it, he was about to kill Brock for that, even though I don't think he could. But he said he was going to try. And so, yeah, I think he does have some issues, but overall is an icon in the industry for sure. Hopefully he comes back, but who knows, because people are going to be upset because he's going to be thrown towards the main event, even though main event guy. But yeah. 22. I have Jimmy Uso. A lot of people may say this is high. I absolutely love the Usos. They're my favorite tag team of all time. They have been for a while. I've been supporting the Usos since 2011. Keep that in mind. Since 2011, I have been backing the Usos the whole step, the whole process, the whole journey. I think his work in the Bloodline was great. I think he was arguably the biggest turning piece in the Bloodline story. Him betraying his brother has set up so much into the future. And yeah, I mean, at times he does become a sheep, especially in the Bloodline, but I love his moveset. I love their moves. I don't care what anyone says. He's great on the mic, too. He's very underrated when it comes to that, and great in-ring. Number 21, I have Batista. How could you not like Batista? I mean, seriously. Character-wise, fantastic. Mic work, fantastic. Some of the greatest storylines ever with Evolution. Him betraying Triple H. Him being a Rumble winner. Him being a multiple-time main eventer in WrestleMania. His moveset is great. His finisher is fantastic. Like the Batista bomb is insane. I think I just have him this low. It's just nitpicking at stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of the power type wrestlers, and Batista's career was honestly a lot shorter than I would have liked it to be, than I think most people would have liked it to be. So that's going to hurt him a little bit, but bonus points because he's also Drax. Number 20, I have Sami Uso. Now, Sami Zayn is, honestly, in my opinion, one of those other workhorses as well. He's like Kevin. Him and Kevin Owens have so similar career paths. They're involved in every story. They've worked every month. They've had some dark moments, like the whole conspiracy theory thing, which I was not as down on as most people, but it was kind of bad. But in ring, fantastic performer. On the mic, beautiful. But yeah, his placement in storylines is fantastic. And as you could tell, Sami Uso, I mean, sure, we can call him Sami Zayn, but everybody's going to remember the honorary Uso. That's all I'm going to say. Number 19, John Cena. Again, a lot of people may have him higher, people may have him lower. This one I feel like is fair, though, because, you know, it's either Let's Go Cena or Cena sucks. I don't know if there's anything wrong with John Cena. I just think, for me, especially growing up and even rewatching, John Cena wasn't everything. And at some point, you get tired of seeing people, you know? And so I think John Cena just has that effect. Like, you're a little burnt out of seeing him. At this point, no, I am absolutely so excited for this final goodbye, this final run. Absolutely. But I think just watching him growing up, you're tired of seeing him main event every single thing. Was he great? Sure. Was he great in the ring? Yes. Was his character great? Yes. But I just saw him way too much for him to be higher than this. I'm sorry. He's probably the GOAT. He's one or two, in my opinion, of the sport. So, flowers to him, and I cannot wait for this last year. 18. I have RVD, the whole damn show. I gotta be honest, he's up here purely off of his moveset and his wrestling style. We have not had anyone like RVD since he came in. I don't think anyone wrestles like RVD. That's it, honestly. He has arguably the most entertaining moveset. That's why he's this high. Is he as great on the mic as like Cena? Absolutely not. Is he as does he have as many accolades as someone like Cena? No. So why do I have him above him? I just love him in the ring. Obviously, he has his downsides, which is why he's not higher, but he is one of my favorite people to watch wrestle. Number 17, I have Stone Cold Steve Austin. Can I get a hell yeah? I don't know if he's not in anyone's top 20, to be honest. I just went and watched him. Like, I would go back just to watch Stone Cold matches. Literally nothing wrong with him. The only reason he's not higher, again, not in my time, so I do have to go back and watch. I wasn't able to watch him weekly and stuff like that, so yeah, that's the only reason he's not higher. Honestly, a GOAT as well, top 4. Number 16, oops. I have Sheamus. Yes, I have Sheamus this high. I have not disliked a single character from Sheamus. The only thing I dislike is his new intro. Go back to Too Many Pies. Absolutely love his character in every moment. Love all of his feuds. Like, even the one with Damian Priest that a lot of people probably didn't enjoy and probably forgot. I enjoyed that. I enjoy Sheamus in the ring. I love his moveset. I love everything about him. The only reason I have him this low is I feel like lack of importance, I guess is the right word. There's times in the WWE where he falls out of not even main eventing, but like even mid-card stuff, which is crazy. Like, obviously you can't be in every pay-per-view and stuff like that, but there's years of it at a time where Sheamus is not really involved in a story. And whether that be an injury or something else, I'm sorry, like, I just wish he was seen more. I wish he had more matches. Which is crazy because he's one of the most, has some of the craziest longevity out of anyone, but just wish he had more legendary feuds, I guess is the proper word. Number 15, Chris Jericho. I mean, this is the innovator. This is the blueprint, I would say, to mic work. He might be my number one for mic work, honestly. He reinvents like no one else. If something starts falling off for him, he's back in a week or 2 weeks with a new character that everybody loves or hates, whatever he wants him to be. He's great in the ring. Even at his age, still he's being great. Chris Jericho is fantastic. Absolutely. Absolutely one of the best to ever do it. And I could see him on some people's top 4. He's definitely should be in everyone's top 10, in my opinion. Chris Jericho is an absolute legend of wrestling. Yeah, you can't spell Chris Jericho without wrestling, which makes no sense, but just trust me, you can't. Number 14, John Morrison. Hear me out. Again, career not that long. I think one of the best physiques ever in WWE, which is not why he's this high. I just wanted to point that out, but this is similar to RVD. It is a moveset thing. I love John Morrison's moves. His move, and all of his matches are great. He has so many legendary moments. He is, what did they call him? Drip John or something like that? I forgot. That was a weird time. But yeah, his drip was crazy too. He was good on the mic. He was just good everywhere. He is another underrated star and definitely underutilized. Like, how this guy, I don't even think he ever won a world championship. And if he did, it was not many. How this guy is not a multi-time world champion, I don't know. I really don't, because he is fantastic. Number 13, I have Shelton Benjamin. Now, this is probably going to turn more heads than anything. Shelton Benjamin is one or two the most underrated and most underutilized ever. Shelton Benjamin is so good. Every single match Shelton Benjamin in is amazing. Every single ladder match he's in, he's the MVP. Every single one-on-one match, whether he wins or loses, he's the MVP. He is one of the greatest in-ring performers ever. I don't think he's ever won a world title, which just blows my mind because he is one of the best. Great theme music, great character work, great mic work. One of the best in-ring performers of all time. What can Shelton Benjamin not do? I don't know. Get the boss to like him and give him a title. That's it. Like, Shelton Benjamin can do everything else. Like, it's just annoying. Number 12. I have Sasha Banks. Give me 1 second. Sorry, just got an important text. But anyway, I have Sasha Banks. I love Sasha Banks. In my opinion, she is the second best women's wrestler of all time, which we will see number one shortly. I love her in the ring, and her character work, I think, is the best out of any woman we've ever seen. She can dominate in any company, as we've seen AEW, New Japan, WWE. She is fantastic. I think her downside is, I don't know if she really has one. I like her moveset and everything like that. I would just say it's that she, I don't want to say, this is going to sound bad when I say it, because she's great, but she does at times get full of herself, which is like why she left the WWE. She's obviously the most paid woman, and not saying she doesn't deserve it. She definitely does, but I think she was expecting royalty level treatment. I could be wrong. I don't want to misspeak here, but that's the only thing I've ever really seen negative about her when it comes to wrestling. Number 11, I have Dean Ambrose. I mean, come on. The Shield, the greatest tag team, their greatest faction ever. It's arguable. Them or DX, but I love Dean Ambrose. The only thing about him, not in there long enough. Is he doing great in AEW? Sure. I want him back here when he can fight some real people and put on some 5-star matches. Not saying they can't do that in AEW, but it's not as likely. Dean Ambrose, though, is a legend. A legend. Need him back. Need him back in WWE. Just really do, honestly. Again, his gripe is too short of a run. In WWE, at least. Number 10, we are in the top 10 now. I have R-Truth. The greatest comedian to ever touch a mic in WWE. Is really good in the ring. The longevity. He's debuted in the 90s, didn't he? And he's still going now and reinventing himself every year, like being part of the Judgment Day this past year. I love R-Truth. How can you not? I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. Number 9. The greatest woman in wrestling history, I have Rhea Ripley. I know she's so early in her career, but no one is close to her when it comes to in-ring performance for the women. I would argue right now in WWE, she is a top 5 wrestler, including the men. I would argue she's top 3, maybe even top 2, maybe even number 1. I don't know if I'd have her at number 1, but that is definitely arguable. Her character work is beyond levels ahead of every other female. Her mic work is fantastic. Her feuds are all fantastic. Her domination is fantastic. And she's hot too. You could throw that in there. But she is amazing in the ring. Her moveset is beautiful. She executes everything perfectly. There's very few botches from her. She's by far the best in-ring performer we've ever seen from the women. She's by far the best character we've ever seen from the women. She ran a faction with Finn Balor and Damian Priest on it. Those are 2 main event guys. And she ran that faction. She runs the woman division now. And she will continue to run it until she gets hurt again, like she did with Liv, which hopefully doesn't happen. But she would have ran that whole time too. She is the best female to ever touch a WWE ring. Or best woman, sorry, whatever you prefer. Yeah, so she deserves this spot. Number 8, I have Seth Rollins. Come on, he's a pillar stone of WWE. He is a workhorse. He is that guy. When you think of WWE, maybe not you, but a lot of people, the first name that comes to mind is Seth Rollins. He is that guy. Week in and week out, bearing injury or whatever the word is. He's there. He has a fantastic moveset. His character work is great. His storylines are some of the best of all time. He is the greatest cash-in of all time. He's a Royal Rumble winner, multiple-time champion, a Grand Slam champion. He's done it all. He has done it all. I can't say anything bad about Seth Rollins. Nothing. The whole top 10, except maybe R-Truth, you could say some stuff about. But the top 9 are perfect wrestlers, in my opinion. This is now, at this point, what I prefer. And at number 7, I do prefer the big dog. Or I guess people, the tribal chief. But, I was the big dog kind of guy. I think a lot of people would say his downside is definitely that 2015 to 2020 run. I've never hated Roman. I've loved Roman ever since The Shield came in. even when he was fighting the Authority, even when he won the Rumble, even when he was beating people he shouldn't have beat, even when he beat The Undertaker, when he was doing all this stuff, when people didn't like him, I was a Roman fan. I always loved Roman. So, of course he's going to be this high for me, especially now. He is the greatest. He has the greatest run of a champion of all time. He has the greatest storyline of all time, being the Bloodline. And yes, you can think about it. There's not one better than the Bloodline. It is the greatest story in WWE history. I don't care what anyone's saying. He's that guy. He is the next John Cena. Obviously, he's his own thing, but he's the next face. Number 6, however, I have Triple H, who is running the place. I don't know what to start with. Serious, funny, great. One of the most legendary runs of a championship of all time with the World Heavyweight Championship. Multiple time Royal Rumble winner, Hall of Famer, runs the damn business. Now as part of DX, arguably the greatest faction or group in history. I mean, amazing moveset, Hall of Fame level matches entirely. Like, there's matches from Triple H that would put him in the Hall of Fame alone. I mean, what can't he do? What can't he do? Blew out both his quads and still continue to wrestle? Like, come on. Number 5, Jey Uso. I told you there'd be recency bias, and there definitely is. Again, similar with Jimmy, I've been backing the Usos since 2011, but this single run by Jey is one of the most entertaining, in my opinion, one of the most fun, and I get the criticism where people are coming from. I don't see any of it, though. I love his in-ring performance. I love his character work. I love his mic work. I love his intro. I love his chant. I love it all. I don't have a single problem with Jey Uso whatsoever. That's why he's this high for me. I'm entertained by every match I watched with him, so I can't be mad. You know, I can't be one of those guys who are like, oh, yeah, there's 4 moves, blah, blah, blah. I wish his moveset was better. I like all his moves, so I'm not going to complain. Like, if you're doing 4 moves and I like all 4, then I'm not going to complain. I love all his matches. So, yeah. Whatever. If people are going to disagree, I like them. Number 4, I have Jeff Hardy. I mean, no one should disagree with this. I mean, he's bigger than Obama in 08. Like, come on. Like, Jeff Hardy is that guy. I don't even have anything else to say. Everybody knows Jeff. He puts his body on the line. He's just arguably the most entertaining wrestler ever. It's hard to argue against that for him. So, yeah, number 4, I feel like is valid for him. Number 3, I do have Randy Orton. Obviously, the RKO. Everybody loves the RKO. People know what the RKO is without watching wrestling. He's the greatest heel in all time, of my opinion. I hope he breaks Stone Cold's record and has 3, or ties Stone Cold's record and has 3 Royal Rumble wins. I believe he's a Money in the Bank winner, if I'm not mistaken. 15-time world champion. I also hope he ties or breaks John Cena, because this is a guy that, when not injured, has been here every single month, has been here every single year. And he kind of started way earlier than Cena and is lasting way longer. No disrespect to Cena, but they came in at the same time. Who was the youngest world champion? Randy Orton. Who was in the main event scene by the time of their first year? Randy Orton. Who is still in the main event scene, and they like, people that know him have had kids by now? Randy Orton. And he's still there every week, you know, like, for the most part. He is there all the time. He is there in every pay-per-view for the most part. People love him. He's in arguably the best shape of his life. I have nothing bad to say about Randy Orton. Nothing. There's not a single thing he's done wrong in his career. I cannot say I dislike anything about Orton. So he goes in my number 3. Number 2, who used to be my number 1, like my whole childhood. But I've switched as of rewatching all the pay-per-views. I've switched. But this is Shawn Michaels. Arguably the greatest wrestler of all time. He's definitely up there. He's definitely top 5. And you can't really argue it. He has every accolade you can think of. He has some of the most legendary moments. He has some of the most legendary character work. He was part of arguably the greatest tag team ever in DX. He is a part of multiple eras. He's had multiple Hall of Fame careers. He is now running NXT, which he is doing a fantastic job at. I have nothing wrong with him. But the reason I don't want to talk about him more is because of my number one, who people will be surprised. Who am I going to have above Shawn Michaels, Roman Reigns, Dolph Shield, Triple H, John Cena, Batista, Randy Orton? Who is number one? Dolph Ziggler. This is by far my favorite wrestler of all time after rewatching the pay-per-views. This is the most underrated wrestler. This is the most unused wrestler. This is a guy who can put a piece of cardboard over in a match. This is a guy who you could throw him to fight 10 snails and people would be cheering that whole match. This guy is the greatest in-ring performer of all time. I don't care what anyone says. His mic work was fantastic. It wasn't the best, but I would probably say top 20. His mic work was great. His character work was great, obviously. But he is by far, in a way, the best in-ring performer. And like I said, you could have this guy fight wind itself and people would be entertained. I would be entertained. The only thing he's missing is those legendary runs that he should have had, that everybody wanted. They were chanting Dolph Ziggler in matches, and in pay-per-views, he wasn't even in. They were chanting, "We want Ziggler," when it was like John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. Why? Because he was that good. He still is that good. How they have not tried to get him back and how they have not pushed him to the main event is beyond me. This guy is absolutely the best. He's the best, and I'm sticking by that. I'm not going to move. And that Survivor Series match is probably the greatest Survivor Series match of all time, and it is because of this man, Dolph Ziggler. And every match he's in is good and watchable. There's not a bad match with Dolph Ziggler because he's in it. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Drop your top 5 in the comments. Obviously, you're probably going to disagree. I doubt anybody's going to have this exact list as mine. But yeah, this is how I feel about it.